Hey guys, Bowler here. Dang, I haven't done that in a hot minute.
Welcome to Fraymakers!
Yep, it's real. The tester program has begun for Fraymakers, and I happen to be a tester myself. And it's been a long 2 years since we first saw this game, so I'm quite happy to finally be playing it. But I'm gonna be brutally honest here. Drumroll please. Is the game good? Sadly, no. It's not good. It's amazing. I've already put in a solid 10 hours into the game, and I've already fallen in love. And while it's not a perfect game, it definitely lacks polish in some aspects, I'm very impressed for my first impressions. Like, I had high expectations, and it actually met them. It's a very fun game. Also warning, this is a tester build, so everything is very subject to change, and a lot of stuff will be unpolished, which is completely understandable, because who would have guessed the tester build would be unfinished? Which is completely fair. Octodad, of course, is the biggest example. Half of his moves aren't finished, which makes him very weird to watch and to play.
I'm being comboed by a storyboard, bruh.
But hey, I will say my main concerns for this game are definitely the polish, which are things that will be fixed throughout tester build. So although some of the animations aren't done, there are plenty of other things that are done that are super high quality. The character select screen is very cool looking, and also the load times are incredibly fast. You get into a match very quickly. And of course, the stages, the music, the menus are all beautiful. But come on, you know what I'm here for. The gameplay. What's it like? I've played a lot of platform fighters, and it's no surprise that this game plays a lot like Super Smash Flash 2. However, it's no SSF2 2, it's fairly different. It has its own unique game feel and identity. It's a fairly fast game with plenty of movement options, and the hit stun, knockback, and falling speed of the characters lead to fairly quick matches full of combos. Especially with characters like Commander Video, who are literally movement the character. I would say he's probably my favorite of the characters right now, but I haven't really chosen a main yet, it's too early on. But again, it's a fairly unique game, and there's 3 main points I want to talk about that help separate it from the genre. And that is of course its unique air dashes, assist system, and the one-way shields. First off is air dashing, which is essentially a directional air dodge, which means yes, you can wave dash. And while wave dashing seems pretty good, I haven't really gotten the most use out of it yet coming from an SSF2 player. So it'll take more time to see just how good wave dashing is. Also, at the end of an air dash, you can do an aerial, which means you can do insane combo extensions as well as approach options by doing sort of a air dash neutral air or air dash up air, and as long as you hit the move, you won't fall into special fall. That being said, if you do whiff, you'll have increased landing lag when you land on the stage, or you'll just go into special fall and die. Overall, air dashes were a great addition. They make for some hype combo extensions, but also a very risky offstage option. I'm a huge fan of air dashes, and I would give it a 10 out of 10. Next is the assists. Assists are honestly overall weaker than I thought they would be. One of my biggest concerns for the game when I was going into it was that assists might be too big of an impact on the game and feel sort of overwhelming. And it's quite the opposite, honestly. Many of the assists actually feel a little bit undertuned, I felt like. There were a few standouts such as Pizza and Fancy Pants who seem pretty impactful and are probably some of the best. But there's definitely a handful of assists that I tried that either were unintuitive to use or just underwhelming even when they worked. And I'm sure assist balancing will be worked on throughout the whole entire tester build, but as of right now, a lot of assists are a little bit weaker than the best ones. And I wouldn't say they should be nerfing the best ones, but instead buffing some of the weaker assists. I should also explain the assist meter. The way the assist meter works in this game is that you build it up by dealing percent to the enemies, not when taking percent. For most of the assists, it takes 100 damage to activate the meter, but for some of them it takes more, such as Tankman who takes 150%, since Tankman is quite strong. And it's not a gameplay feature, but it's kind of cool that you can also change the assist costumes, and many of them are references to their games, which is just a little cute feature. And the third thing that makes this game so unique and cool is, of course, the one-way shields. Shields are very interesting in this game, and arguably a lot weaker. So compared to Smash Bros where shields cover your whole body, in Fraymakers it only covers your front direction. So for a character like Orcane, who's much wider than they are tall, it only really covers your very front. And for Octodad, who's very tall and not very wide, it covers a good portion of your body. Now, as you can imagine, this does make characters quite vulnerable, as aerials from above you, below you, or just a cross-up aerial by either doing an air dash or a late aerial will all go through your shield. That being said, there are some benefits to shields, such as no shield breaking or shield damage, and also the shield push is much lower, meaning if an opponent misspaces their aerial in your shield, you can actually shield grab quite easily. And to help compensate for shields being bad, they added a mechanic called parrying, where if you press special while shielding, you do a parry animation. Kind of like Smash Ultimate parrying, but a little bit different. But I will say parrying is a very hard mechanic to pick up. It's just very trick timing so far. Yeah, parrying will take some more time to really like master and figure out. Right now, the pacing of the matches doesn't feel too slow, where it's like Smash 4, just, holding shield forever, or like too aggressive, where it's like every time you just run in, you get a hit and kill people, sort of like Smash 64-esque. It's a good balance so far, and parrying definitely helps with that. And yeah, those are the main differences I think that make Fraymakers so cool, and so far I'm having a lot of fun playing it. But that being said, there are some things I don't love. One small detail, for example, Merchant Port. You would think this is a wall, but nope, it's not a wall. I don't know why they chose to do this, and I hope they fix it, because I have SD'd so many times getting pineappled on Merchant Port. Same with Stratosphere, but definitely happens on Merchant Port all the time. Just please add walls. Now, there are a few more things I want to talk about with the game. First is the movesets. Overall, the characters are very fleshed out and have unique gameplay. Commander Video is your rushdown character, kind of like Fox and Captain Falcon-esque, where you just run in with Nair, dash dancing, and have all these sick combos. While Taro plays like an absolute monster when he's above you. It sort of flips disadvantage state on its head, where you want to be above your opponent. Usually that's like a disadvantage because you're juggled. But for Waltaro, you actually are very strong in the air, which is a really unique playstyle for a platform fighter. And of course, there's Orcane, who is just, well, Orcane. Not too surprising. A lot more fun than in Rivals of Aether, I found. Like, I love Rivals, but Orcane's one of my least favorite characters in that game, and he's pretty fun in Fraymakers. And also, he can grab ledges now, which honestly, grabbing ledges might make his recovery a little too good sometimes. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, although Octodad has a very cool grappler playstyle, it's not fully finished yet. A lot of his animations aren't done, so it's kind of hard to like play him a lot of the times. One gripe I do have with the movesets is that some of the moves feel a little like unintuitive or not very useful. The best example of this is Commander Video's down B, which just turns him into a churro, and it's pretty bad. Please buff the churro. And there's a few other moves here and there that just feel a little out of place, but most of the moves in the movesets flow together pretty well. And next, let's talk online. This is my biggest issue with the game. The online is pretty good when it works, and miserable when it doesn't. And so far it seems to be about 50-50 on if the match is playable. Because, well, it's definitely better than SSF2 online, which doesn't say too much, but it doesn't feel like rollback netcode. I couldn't tell you exactly why it's this way, but the online definitely doesn't feel like it's perfect right now, which may be because, again, it's tester build, they're still working on it, but hopefully the online gets some improvements before early access launches. And, well, overall, the game is a little bit unfinished. All of the issues I have with it can be fixed and are fixable issues, but just aren't quite finished yet. And it's very promising for the future of Fraymakers. I want the game to succeed so badly. I want to make Fraymakers content, I want the competitive scene to thrive, I want the community to grow, and it definitely could happen if, early access comes out and it's, very well polished. I definitely plan to stream Fraymakers pretty often. The game is incredibly fun. I want to stream it doing viewer battles, so feel free to join my Discord server if you want to get notifications on that. And if possible, I would love to do some Parsec matches with the viewers who maybe haven't had the chance to play it yet. No promises on that yet, though. And lastly, since somebody already asked me and I'm sure you guys want to know, here are my day 1 tier lists that are probably going to be super inaccurate. This is my character tier list, which is just pretty much ranking them in order. They're all pretty good. I mean, Octodad's a little bit weaker than the rest, but they're all pretty viable. And here is my day 1 assist tier list. Yeah, and I'm certain those will age very poorly. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts, and thank you so much for watching.